Alright, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Let's
Hey! Hey, what's up, guys? It's Will and Mike again with Mental Misstep. And this is like 8th installment now?
I don't know. We're doing a thing.
We're doing things now. It's great. We're actually coming to you guys regularly now, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. So.
Kaladesh. Let's just hop right into it.
I
just want to like dive straight into this this set of cards. This is ridiculous.
Which part?
Everything, every aspect of Kaladesh is ridiculous. Every single card I've seen, basically, commons, uncommons, rares, have just been resoundingly overpowered.
Power creep is a thing, yes. I'm really satisfied with the cycle of Gear Hulks.
Yeah.
Because all of them seem really good, really relevant, unlike, I don't know, say the cycle of regions from Dragons.
Yeah,
where you were like, that one's good, that one's good. Meh.
Yeah. So the regions were a kind of a letdown. The souls were really just disappointing. If we go back and look at M15, the souls came out then.
The Fates cons, or the cons themselves, were okay.
Sure.
Anathenza from the first one was really good. From Cons of Sarkir was really good. Narset was really good too. Yeah. I feel she had a little bonkers decks.
Yeah, there's that Narset Planeswalker list that came out for a while. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then Drew Coffin, our local player of ours, like he won with 2 essentially different lists.
Running her?
Yeah, running her. It was just like, here, let me play all these draw and burn spells.
With Flying Crane Strike as the finisher.
Or, Master the Way with Howl the Horde.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's make you draw a bunch of... Or I'm going to draw a bunch of cards and then deal damage to you based on all of those cards. Repeatedly.
Yeah.
Seems good. And then, like, another one with... he produced a bunch of tokens with it, so he just swarmed his board. I
think the Gear Hulks are kind of the best Titans we've had since the Titans, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
We look back at dang, that was M12 or M11, M12. When we originally got the Titans. Pretty much every single Titan did something. You had Frost and Sun Titan were the primarily played Titans, but you still had Prime Time.
Mm.
You still had Grave Titan. Grave Titan still sees some play these days as well.
Yeah.
And
he just clogged up the board with dudes, period.
Yeah, and then Inferno Titan never really got a lot of play, but there are escape shift lists that still play.
He seems like a good utility Titan. I mean, the sheer fact that you drop him and you basically can clear out some of the board or clear out one thing seems really relevant, and then you swing and you could clear out something else.
Yeah.
Seems pretty important, I think, for a top-end red card in an aggro list or something like that.
I agree. I think all of the Titans were relevant back in their day.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the Frost Titan Lock combo back in that era was terrible and very aggravating for those who played during that block and set. But still, each Titan had their own merit, which was really good.
Yeah.
I think that the Gear Hulks, like you said, every single one that I've seen does work when it comes in. The red Gear Hulk that just got spoiled.
I want to break him so bad.
I know a lot of people got really, really excited about it. Because, I mean...
It's one of the blue cards that's a mind game. It's like that. It's like if I go, Fortune's Favor or something like that, it's like, okay, tell me what I can have and let me ruin your day with it because you made the wrong choice.
Right.
Or something like that. And I want to see a deck that can profit off of... Well, I mean, obviously any deck can profit off of drawing 3 cards. I want to see the decks that profit off of cards hitting the graveyard and not necessarily, if it's 3 lands and you burn them for 0, that you could still profit off of that.
Sure. I feel that kind of... And Jeremy might be happy about this, our team member. He was tinkering around with kind of that Jund list for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That Jund
Delirium with
Delve and Dark Dwellers and all
the Traverse the ooze mold.
Yeah.
So you can tutor up, say, any of those gear holds would be amazing.
Yeah. So I think maybe in a list sort of like that, the Red Gearhulk will be really good.
Because you play a lot of high drops in that too. So, like, even if your stuff goes to graveyard, it's like, oh, by the way, you took, like, 12.
Yeah, exactly. Or, you know, and that way you can actually reoccur the stuff that actually hits the graveyard. And there's a lot more to kind of go with it. I think putting the Red Gearhulk in like a burn list where you're going to have like 1 and 2 drop, maybe 3 drop cards, not going to be as powerful, but can still be impactful.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the high end of a curve, probably. But in the standard burn, there are a lot of 3 and 4 drop burn spells that people have kind of been leaning to. And I know in the blue-red burn list, there's some 3 drops quite frequently.
Yeah.
That even if you hit those, you're still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, even if you hit like 2 of those, or if you hit 1, that's still 3 damage. I mean, that's still relevant. Or, I mean, if you hit 3, 1, and 1, that's 5 damage. That's still relevant, and then you have a fairly big body as well.
I agree. So I kind of want to talk about a card that Jeremy kind of spoiled to us a little bit earlier in our group chat. That 1-drop artifact creature, that 1/1 that every time it attacks.
Oh, you exile the top card of your library?
Yeah.
And then you pay red and discard your hand.
And
do you sack him too?
I'm pretty sure it's just discard your hand, and then you can
basically, well, you pitch your hand and get all the exiled cards.
Exactly. So I was thinking about this. How good is this card in blue-red favored visions?
I don't know. Like, I don't like the feeling of going, oh no, they're about to remove this. I have decent cards here, but my game winners might be there in exile, and I can't touch those cards ever again as soon as they're gone.
Right.
So it's, you know, having to go, well, let's do it. Red, you know, dump my hand and try to. Oh, it does say.
Oh, you do have to sack him. Okay.
So anyways, so then you're taking that gamble on what's in exile is better than what's in your hand.
Sure.
I'm popular today.
I am very popular today. I find it very.
I think what it would be better for is if you're doing like a mono red aggro, and you're just like dude. By the point where you need to use that ability, you probably only have like 1 card in hand, and then all of a sudden you go from 1 to 4 or 1 to 5.
Right.
That would be amazing.
I really enjoy this card for the aspect of it can shift a game state very dramatically, very quickly if it gets out of control. Now, obviously, the argument is it dies for removal, right? But that's
it dies really easy. It's only a 1/1.
Yeah, it is a 1/1. It dies super easy to removal. And is it whenever it deals damage or whenever it attacks?
It's an attack trigger.
It is an attack trigger. So you don't have to actually get through with it, which is good. I feel that the problem with it being in red-blue fevered visions is you're turning on more of your opponent's removal. That the part of the reason that deck is super good right now, and I think is still going to continue to be good, is because it doesn't have many removal targets. So then your opponent ends up with 8, 10 dead cards in their library, and then they're just like, well, that was fun. Like a land would be more useful to them at that point than drawing a dead card.
Yeah.
Because really, all you have is the pyromancers. Or the alchemists.
The alchemist and Thing in the Ice.
Yeah, and a lot of lists don't even. A lot of the lists can sideboard out Thing in the Ice.
Yeah.
Too. So I feel like it's a meh card. I want it to be good. I want it to see play, and I think it can still see play. But I don't think it's going to break as much of the format as I want it to.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be more of one of the nice card engines for like a mono red aggro.
Sure.
Like that's the only place I really see it fitting is in a red X aggro, to where pretty much you're just going dude. Oh no, my hand's gone. Boop. Oh look, I have a hand now.
Sure. So let's talk about that new Planeswalker that got spoiled today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see some people are like, oh man, this is really good. Some people are like, this guy sucks.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure how I feel about him. I like the aspect of his +1 target creature gets -3/-0.
Yeah.
right?
And activated abilities can't be activated.
And activated abilities can't be activated. So we've been seeing this a lot lately in Planeswalkers, and I think this is Wizards' way of trying to. Sorry, that's a dog scratching. Very. It's okay, buddy. Um,
Jingle, jingle, jingle.
jingle, jingle, jangle.
Um,
No, we've seen a lot of Wizards doing this with a lot of Planeswalkers recently. We've seen it with Jace, Friend's Prodigy. We've seen it with Liliana. Giving creatures minus power effects, but not really affecting their toughness, and not tapping them down or anything like that, but it's kind of reducing their presence. Yeah, you're
there.
You're meh. You're not a threat to me right now. I kind of like this, right? This is Wizards saying we're gonna give you a balanced mechanic that buys you some time, gives you some protection, but doesn't actually cripple your opponent either. Because your opponent's not losing an attacker, they're not losing a blocker. It's making it unfortunate for them. They can't do anything with it.
All of a sudden, they lost the value of the attacker.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, now your Sylvan Advocate doesn't hit hard or at all.
Yeah, now your Sylvan Advocate doesn't kill me in a trade. So I think Wizards really smart by doing this with their Planeswalker upticks, or for a lot of the blue Planeswalker upticks, and just making it like, hey,
I'm gonna bubble you with this little thing, and you've got some nerf padding now.
And I think
You're gonna hit me with a nerf pad.
And I think bubble is the right word there. They're giving Planeswalkers kind of that little protective bubble, saying, hey, we want the Planeswalker to stay on the field, but we don't want to give it a Karn ability, right? Because Karn, obviously one of the most broken Planeswalkers, protected itself very well.
Exile card out of your hand, exile that thing right there. No, just exile. Go away. Go.
We had the thing with Ugin. Ugin protected himself very much with his exile effect. Exile the entire board, pretty much.
Unless you're Artifact or Eldrazi, go away.
Yeah, exactly. And we were in cons, which everything was 3 colors back then. So
everything had a color. I'm sure of it, except for really bad artifacts.
So I'm happy to see them kind of stepping away from super overpowered Planeswalkers and kind of making things, I don't know.
And that's the point where I'm like, the people that are going, oh, this guy sucks, are the people that are like, premier modern, like mainly play modern. I've talked with a few of them, and they're like, the cards just aren't as good as they used to be back then. They don't need to be that way. That's the reason why a lot of people don't like modern, is because there's really abused mechanics in there.
Sure.
Now, we've gone, like, all of the cards are steadily getting better. There's just not a select few that are stupid broken.
Yeah.
I mean, Ugin's probably been, like, the one of most recent printing that I can think of that's just been downright stupid.
I mean, there's been some really good cards in Modern that have just been backbreaking to a lot of decks. Kaladesh was backbreaking to a lot of decks in Modern.
Yeah, I mean, he's really good. But I'm just saying, like, Kaladesh on his own doesn't stop a lot of things. Or, like, he definitely shuts down certain styles of play and certain mechanics. But it's not like Ugin, clear board.
Sure. I can
especially since, like, the only deck that can really survive in Ugin is, like, Affinity.
Yeah.
Because Affinity just goes, ha!
Ha! You have a dragon.
We're not colored.
Narset is just now rotating. Is
Bond as good as Narset?
I don't think he's as good as Narset. And here's the reason why. Narset does everything a control deck wants it to do. Okay?
I think a more poignant is Narset was pure card advantage, ability 1. Because it was either I get a card in my hand, or I at least know what I have coming.
Yeah.
2, her down tech, being able to rebound a spell, which is stupid nuts in its own, because you're basically getting 2 casts off of 1 spell. And then her ultimate just says, oh, your
opponent can't play Magic.
Oh, you're a control deck. Fine. You're not playing Magic anymore.
Or you're a burn deck. Or you're et cetera, you're et cetera, you're et cetera.
Like, the only decks that survived that were, like, red deck wins.
Yeah.
That was about it. Now, as far as Bond goes, like, I think he's more balanced and he could kind of fit in a couple different ways.
Sure.
But, I mean, his uptick's good. I'm not going to say stupid broken.
No, it's not stupid broken. I
his
enjoy...
His downtick's okay. It's... Gaining life is relevant. Drawing your cards relevant. All for one loyalty.
But it isn't... It's what, gain 1 life?
No, it's gain like 2 or 3.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not gain 1, no. It's gain 2 or 3. And draw a card. For 1. It's okay.
It's not great.
I've seen worse.
I've definitely seen worse. And then his ultimate. So,
I like his ultimate.
I like his ultimate, right? But what's his starting loyalty? He's a 4-drop for 3. 4 mana to spend on a 3-drop Planeswalker.
And then go 4 turns to ultimate.
Yeah, it's really rough. Really rough. I mean, we've seen how hard it is to get Lily to ultimate, right? And she gives -2, -1. Like, so she has potential to actually kill things. And
at the same time, though, she's an automatic, and this is what I explained in a post. I was like, you look at Lily and Gideon, arguably better planeswalkers than Bond. But those are your win conditions. I have a 5/5 beater that you can't kill. If the only way you can kill it is to ruin his path on your turn, but odds are I could probably deal with that. But it's a 5/5 that doesn't go away normally through combat or anything like that. And then Liliana, if she ults, you're pretty much boned.
Sure.
You're not going to come back from that.
Sure.
That's a win condition. Bond, he's not a win condition on his own. He sets up the board state so you can win.
Yeah, he
and
sets
that's
up a prism.
Yeah. It's just pretty much, you're only going to do this. You're only going to get 2 permanents to untap, so you're pretty much going to have to bank on 1 turn to completely disrupt me and turn the game in your favor somehow and win.
Sure. So the next question comes to mind is Esper Walkers going to be a viable option moving into this set? We're going to have Liliana. We're going to have Gideon. We're going to have Bond.
Mm-hmm. Still have Soren.
Still have Soren. We lose Jace Vryn's Prodigy.
Just because he starts out as a creature, he's a lot easier to hate out.
Sure. I can agree with that.
Because, you have to specifically play, player burn spells, or, destroy Planeswalker cards, or just, destroy permanent cards.
We also get Ob Nixilis and Esper Walkers. And we have Deploy the Gatewatch.
I can call it the Gatewatch if you just absolutely need to tutor for one specific one.
Sure. And then you have access to Oath of Liliana, which produces creatures. Oath of Gideon.
Blue-white fast land, blue-black fast land.
Yeah.
Kind of nuts.
Yeah, I think that Esper is actually going to be a viable color scheme.
Oh, no. It's not blue-black. It's,
Black-white.
Black-white. Black-white and the, that's the only one you get, I think.
But then you still get Choked Estuaries.
Yeah, Choked Estuaries and Port Towns.
Yeah.
Because red-blue is the important fast land that I think everybody should pick up.
I agree. I think it's gonna be,
it's gonna be nuts.
I think Fevered Visions is gonna
Modern's
move very quick.
Modern's gonna blow that card up.
Sure.
Ugh. Ugh.
Seems hard on the mana base to add blue for Bond. So I can kind of see that, but I think that you get a lot of value out of blue, and I don't think it's gonna be as strenuous as it has been.
I think the key cards to look at potentially with blue is mainly counter magic, but specifically something like Summary Dismissal, which cast triggers or just stupid numbers of triggered abilities, seems relevant.
Also, because we brought up Summary Dismissal and counter spells, I want to kind of bring up something that I'm really happy to see. It's going to be jammed in pretty much a lot of sideboards in Modern. And probably some sideboards.
Oh, that blue counter colorless spell?
1 blue counter target colorless spell. This thing is amazing.
Go away, Tron. No.
Yeah.
No.
No. This spell shifts the favor of a lot of decks because it helps Merfolk specifically against Tron, which is already a rough matchup.
Because all we can do is Spreading Seas.
Yeah.
Spreading Seas.
So, we get this card. It helps us against Tron. Helps us against the Ben Eldrazi lists.
Helps us get Affinity.
Helps us against our worst matchup, which is Affinity. So I think that this card is going to definitely go in the fish sideboard for modern.
You're probably not wrong.
This card is insanely bonkers. I read this card and I was like, 1 mana? This is fake, right? This just can't be real. And then I was like, no, this is an actual real card. Okay, well, thanks, Wizards.
All right, so going back to like an Esper list. For standard, I mean, really, I don't think the blue Gear Hulk would be that bad either. Just to be able to go, okay, let me recast that removal spell, that draw spell if I really need to, or that, whatever.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, the black Gear Hulk can just say destroy that thing anyway.
And
White just says, well, I don't know if you would want to play the white one then at that point if you're trying to go wide with Planeswalkers.
Yeah, at that point, I think the white Gear Hulk you don't really play. I think that white primarily in the deck is for, obviously, Gideon, Bon,
Sorin.
Sorin, deploy the Gatewatch, and the Oath. Like, that's it. You can maybe get cheeky with some, like, removal or something like that.
Well, I mean, it's still Deck and Stone I think is going to be irrelevant, especially with prevalence of Thopters and Servos, maybe?
Sure.
I mean, we've already seen multiple cards make Servos. We've seen Thopters mentioned on several cards. I don't know about how many actually make Thopters. I've only seen like 2 or 3.
Sure.
But, it's still something if you're going, oh god, that's an army of artifacts.
Very thankful very thankful that they lose Hangerback Walker.
Yes.
Very thankful.
Yes. That is very nice.
Because that'd be monstrous.
Ooh, gross. I'll watch them reprint like one with Thopter again.
That'd be great. I could go for an orange Doctor reprint.
Especially with that one guy that actually gives +1/+1 to Thopters. And Servos.
1/3 orange Doctor. Let's go, boys.
Oh man, I'm doing Dwarf Tribal, if just for fun.
Some people say there are no dwarven women. But no, I definitely think Esper is viable. We'll have to look at some cards whenever the set fully comes out, and we get to tinker around with it a little bit.
With every rotation, especially since cons, we expect 3-color to go away.
Right.
We always do. But then they keep reprinting like utility lands that'll fix your mana base.
Sure, exactly.
That make it not that hard to go into a 3rd color.
I agree. I think that we're still going to stay in the era of 3 colors.
Until we have like a return to Theros.
Yeah, return to Theros.
Then we'll go to mono.
Or 2 colors. Theros still had some 2 colors in it.
Yeah, red green devotion.
But honestly, Bant's been dominating fairly well for a long time.
It probably won't be. I know people are saying Bant Walkers maybe.
I feel like Bant is going to go away, guys.
Bant Walkers maybe.
A lot of the argument is that I have won a lot of games with Bant Coco without casting a single Coco, right? So a lot of people are arguing that Bant Coco is going to be fine because we still keep all the creature base. We just lose Coco.
You lose a lot of explosiveness though. Because, you'll still have Eldrazi Displacer, however, you won't have Pain Lands. So you lose your colorless sources on top of it.
A lot of us haven't been running Displacer for a while, or at least I don't.
I don't know, some people do. But I feel like your deck's a lot slower, and you lose... There's a lot of times where you would have lost combats or had to take in a lot of damage if you didn't go.
I agree. It is still a very big utility card. Like, do not get me wrong.
I mean, because pretty much your combat goes Coco, Reflector Mage, and another Sylvan Advocate. All of a sudden now I've got a 4/5 blocker, and you're losing a attacker, and I'm getting another blocker.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden we go from like I had a very favorable attack to your board presence, and now I don't.
I agree.
So I mean, like I said, that's the big shift I see out of going with Coco rotating is you lose some more of the very tide shifting attack swings and stuff like that, to where you would have been like, oh, I'm done.
Sure.
I'm going to lose some things or take a lot of damage, and that is not a place I want to be.
Sure.
I mean, granted, you still have Archangel Addison to say no, or Selfless Spirit, whatever. But I mean, at least sometimes those moves can be telegraphed a lot better, or can be accounted for. Like, you see Selfless Spirit on the board. You see 5 mana open. I mean, granted, we see 4 mana open. We go, okay, Coco's coming.
Right, exactly. Like,
But
people normally go, all right, I'm going to end my turn, you're going to cast Coco, and then you can go. And that's one of my favorite things playing Ban Coco, is whenever I don't have a Coco in my hand, but I pass the turn with 4 open mana, and they're like, he's going to Coco on my turn. I'm not going to do anything this turn. And I'm like, outplayed. Most of the Bant Walkers cost 4 after rotation, with the exception of a 3 and 5 cost Nissa. Bant Walkers might be difficult. I
mean, I'm just going based off what I've heard murmurings in the crowd.
I
mean, honestly, I think Bant needs to die. It needs to be taken out back and shot.
I think that if you're going to run a Walkers list, it needs to be white of some sort.
Well, duh, Gideon, duh.
Yeah. Just because Oath of Gideon, specifically, is just bonkers.
I like how that card has been useless. Now all of a sudden relevant.
Yeah.
I think you need to go green, too, because then it does all your green.
I agree. I think, honestly, I'm feeling Naya.
Nahiri seems good.
You have Nahiri, you have Nissa, you have Gideon, you have Oath of Nissa, Oath of Gideon,
Chandra,
and Bonker Chandra.
Which one is Bonker Chandra? The 4 ability one for 4?
Yes. The answer is yes.
Okay. Let's see. And I mean, technically, if you're guaranteed the Oath, you can splash whatever. Like, you can rub 1-ofs of other Planeswalkers if you really want to.
Sure. And then and again, with Naya, you still have the ability to run Deploy the Gatewatch if you want to. So
5 color walkers. Let's go.
So really,
Terrible.
This breaks down into. I think we're doing Naya.
I'm doing the head shake. I'm going, which is so stupid.
I think we just get Naya Walkers here. I feel like Naya has everything we want in it. It has white, so we still get deck instant. We get the removal from it.
You get all the removal and burn out of red.
Yep. Green, we get all of the ramp we need and mana fixing we need.
Yep.
And all the tutoring effects that green presents right now.
It's weird hearing green being a tutor color.
Yeah.
That's normally a blue or black thing.
Yeah. There it is.
And we're saying green for tutor.
There it is, folks. Mental Misstep supports Naya Walkers coming into this next set.
Oh, God.
All right.
Maybe it's your next deck.
How is that outplayed when you didn't play anything to keep 4 mana up? Look, if your opponent doesn't play anything as well...
He's not advancing the board state.
He's not advancing you. Exactly. I win because my opponent didn't advance board state. Because he's scared of Coco.
I can't tap out. I gotta save my counterspell for his collected company.
Yep, basically.
Oh.
Wes is just like, I like this. Wes is like, I support this 100%.
Oh, man.
Look, guys. I don't normally get behind a deck, but this might be something I can get behind.
You say this, and then when the time comes, you'll still be playing Bant.
No, I won't. No, I'm probably gonna move away from Bant whenever Coco runs away.
All right, so kind of diverting a little bit, but still Kaladesh relevant. Masterpiece. That seems pretty cool.
I am interested to see that Wizards is still kind of keeping this expedition.
I read the post for the reasoning on why they're doing this, and it seems really cool. Like, okay, so new players are like, oh man, new shiny card. This is really cool. And they're getting access to more cards. And when I say more, I mean they're getting more value than just, well, here are only these cards, and only 2 or 3 of these you might see play in another format. Where all of a sudden you're getting commander staples, or even some like high-end modern or legacy staples with like Aether Vial.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems huge. Crucible of Worlds. Very relevant cards that are in modern.
Very happy to see an Aether Vial, though. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Or Crucible if you're doing anything with that. That thing looked sweet. Or, Mox Opal.
Yeah,
Steel Overseer.
the artwork,
The swords.
the artwork that they use for these masterworks are gorgeous. The border,
And I like how they also tied the relevant to set it in Kaladesh. I thought that was pretty a nice watch, nice feel to it as well. Like seeing the Kaladeshi Hinkerback Walker was pretty cool. But in addition, for newer players getting access to these older cards, it's a good way to get people that play older formats to buy the newer sets.
Sure.
And then some people are just like, I have a really sweet commander deck. I'm not going to make any changes to it, but I would really like to make it look better. So, instead of paying for alters or trying to get just a foily version of that, now they're getting this super rare ultra foily one with an alternate art, and that's the only way you can get it. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense from a marketing standpoint, but I think it's still pretty cool that they're doing this in general.
I agree.
I think it benefits both players and Wizards. What I'm curious to see is what future Masterpiece sets will look like. So this one's artifact themed because it's Kaladesh.
Sure.
So are we going to see creature-focused ones or planeswalker-focused ones? That would be nuts.
Wow, that'd be crazy to have Masterwork Planeswalkers.
Yeah, Masterpiece Karn. Can you imagine the price on that?
Masterpiece Stack Faden.
Masterpiece Jace Mind Sculptor.
We've had too many printing of Jace Mind Sculptor. That's actually an honest statement. That just not because I hate the Planeswalker, just we have them in From the Vault lore. We have them in they're not from the Vault lore, but from the Vault 20.
Mm-hmm.
He was printed in something else recently.
Eternal Masters.
And we have the original printing. We need to slow down on the Jace. Alright, guys.
But he's our favorite Planeswalker.
More people buying more packs means more cards on the market, like with cons. No, I agree completely.
Yeah.
We saw how much fetch lands tanked with the release of cons, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
I'm all for making Magic more affordable.
I agree. I think bringing the market down to where other players can...
I mean, there's a reason why I play budget decks in Modern, because I like Modern, but I can't afford, $500 deck.
That's fair. I think that you make a very good point. Con fetch lands went from... Polluted Deltas went from $100 to $20.
Cycle. Tired of Scalding Charms being like 80.
They do need to complete the cycles, and that's something we might see, right? We might see...
I don't know. With the whole, fetches in Standard caused the most expensive Standard in recent history.
Well, I mean...
Now, if they would just, reprint them in Conspiracy or something, just a Conspiracy, set would be nice.
But here's the thing, though. Standard was the most expensive it's been, right? But... there was a lot of people playing it. A lot. When cons lands were in Standard, the amount of people playing Standard was through the roof.
That is very true.
And just because, modern players were like, oh, I have land base for this now. Boom. I'm going to build a Standard deck. And Standard players were like, oh, I'm going to buy these cards because then I'll have Modern cards. Boop. And it kind of created this bridge between the formats. And kind of created a harmony of okay, I can play multiple formats now because I have these expensive lands that get played in every single format. So I think that it's a valid point that yes, it creates a more expensive Standard, and we don't want that. But at the same time, if we get used to reprinting big cards like that and bringing those overall prices down. So yes, it raised the price of Standard a little bit, but it overall brought the price of Modern down.
Yeah.
Because, you're looking at spending $80 per fetch land on Modern, now you're only looking at spending $20 per fetch land. That's a huge difference when you're looking at running 8 fetch lands in a deck.
I know, even at the time, it was only, I think the most expensive fetch land at one point was 15.
Yeah.
When it was in Standard. Now that I think they crept up a little bit.
Yeah, they're back up to 22.
Yeah, but I remember Flooded Strand being $10.
Exactly, and that's just because the market was getting flooded with them.
That white and blue wasn't that big.
Yeah, Windswept Heath, $8. Polluted Deltas were the most expensive. Wooded Foothills were the most expensive at $22 in standard, and then Polluted Deltas at 20, and then what's the fifth one? Bloodstained Mire at 16. So the just how much the price tanked was just ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
And I think that we need more of that, to be honest. All right.
I think that pretty much covers most of that stuff. And I mean, Wes does make a really good point about that. About it is ebb and flow. You do lower prices, and all of a sudden more people get into it than raising the prices again.
Sure.
So I mean, there comes a point though where you can put a ceiling on it, where you say, here's a bunch of cards. The card isn't going to get that much more expensive just because we've got a shit ton of them now.
Exactly.
So I mean that it does kind of cap the price out at a certain point. If they reprinted the Zendikar lands, you wouldn't see one sell for $70 anymore.
Yeah.
You might see, well, maybe the original printing, but overall Scalding Tower would go down to like 30.
Yeah, $30, $40.
Somewhere in that range.
Be a lot more affordable than $90 Scalding Tarns.
Yeah. I mean, granted, the Expedition Scalding Tarns were kind of cool.
Yeah, but I agree, and it's the same thing with these masterworks. I think or masterpieces. They're going to be gorgeous. They're going to be expensive. They are meant as hidden treasures inside packs.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it entices people to buy things. It entices people to go, hey, I want to actually open up packs and test
have
my
that
luck.
feeling. Have that feeling of
right, and
I've hit jackpot.
And even the more experienced veteran players who generally have a rule of not opening packs will still occasionally buy a pack and go, hey, maybe I'll open something up. I personally never opened up an Expedition.
I haven't opened up one either.
I thought you did. Oh. Well, but still.
Which is weird. Because normally my luck is stupid. Because I pulled 3 Chandras in 2 fat packs and a box of Oath. And I was like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
And 2 Kozileks and 3 Kozileks returns.
See, I personally like having 3 color decks in Standard. Okay? I think...
Ever since the comic books.
Yeah, but so bringing fetches back in obviously entices people to just build 3 color decks, 4 color decks. They have that ability. Okay? I have always enjoyed 3 color decks. Because it really lets you work on card synergy.
Mm-hmm.
It allows you to just manipulate things, and you can still get screwed over on your mana base if you don't build it properly. It becomes a deck building feat. And I guess the same can be said. It takes more skill to make a deck out of 1 color because there's less powerful cards and etc.
There comes a point with you either face the strengths and weaknesses of 1 color, versus the strengths and weaknesses of multiple, which is it becomes less about the colors, and then it just becomes more about the probability of drawing what you need. In terms of being able to access double blue, double black, double white, or mana resource management more than being able to say, well, I don't really have an answer for enchantments in this color, so.
And it's loose.
Let me just bash their face in before they get an enchantment that screws me over.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And I mean, that's why I like dual color, is you hit that balance in between. Very rarely do you ever hit mana color issues. But at the same time, though, generally with your color pairings, you have an answer for most everything.
Sure. All right, man. What about you? What do you find as one of your favorite cards in Kaladesh? We've kind of talked about cards that I've brought up a little bit. What are you excited for the most about in Kaladesh?
That's a tough question. I mean, there's a lot of cards I like. I don't know about one that I specifically want to. I mean, I don't know. I want to tinker around with the modules.
Okay.
As a whole, all 3 of them together, I think there's some really good synergy there. I know in Legacy, we can make it go infinite rather easily if we can get all of them on board. But at the same time, though, I want to... I think in Limited, if you ever got all 3 of those out, that would just be kind of nuts.
Sure.
It's here. Boop, 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 boop. I have a small army now. I have a bunch of energy back. Let's go. I don't know. There's a lot of decks I want to see what develops out of it. Red green aggro, mainly with that new Hydra. Um, Nissa, I think, could really help that out.
She's also very nuts right now.
But like I said, a red green aggro-ish deck, a red white dwarf tribal basically supplemented with an artifact army. I think could go, or vehicles could really go off somewhere potentially. Jeskai Control. I'm still a fan of the Cataclysmic Hulk and Nahiri combo.
Okay.
Or not here, Nahiri. Saheeli Rai.
Okay.
Like I think that could potentially be a thing.
And I think blue-red is going to be very much a deck moving into this. The Fevered Vision deck or another alternate version of it. Because Saheeli
I mean,
Rai...
blue-red's your artifact colors anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be nuts regardless.
You're just going to throw Saheeli and Fevered Visions, and like you're just like, meh! I now do things.
Although I did read an article about the interesting mill combo involving Saheeli Rai in Modern.
Okay.
You go turn 1 Altar of the Brood, turn 2 Liquid Metal Coating, turn 3 Saheeli Rai. Repeat for ad infinitum.
Turn 3 Infinite Mill.
Mm-hmm. I mean, pretty much you have to go 1, 2, 3, and that's.
I mean, still there are worse things, right? Like you just run 4 of each, and you just go, all right.
I just gotta hit a red and blue source. I'm done.
All right, I'm just gonna play Serum Visions and everything to like
bolt. Just make sure I stay alive. Path.
That's interesting.
But yeah, I was looking at that. I was like,
we might be making this.
I was just like, okay, you turn Saheeli Rai into an artifact. You down ticker. You get a copy of her. Okay. You get a new one. Down ticker. Make a copy of her. Okay.
Okay.
Saheeli Rai, Saheeli Rai, Saheeli Rai. This is a thing.
Nice. So I'm. You can ask the team. They are getting rather tired of hearing me talk about it. But my new obsession with this set is Tireless Striker. So Tireless Striker is not a new card by any means whatsoever.
But clue synergies.
But clue synergy very much is.
Panharmicon. Oh, look, let me get 2 clues. Whee!
Not to mention the new added benefit with the new Nissa at 5-drop. If you have her with an Oath of Gideon on the board, you can immediately ult her off, play a land, draw a card.
Draw a card and get a clue, so you can draw another card.
Exactly. So,
draw cards. Card advantage from green. This is stupid.
Yeah, so it really makes it so green has a lot of power behind it with card advantage.
This should not be a thing. Green is getting to do things it shouldn't do.
Green is getting to do everything I want blue to do, but with the added benefit of having creature power.
Because again, we said earlier, tutor effects, black and blue. Okay, draw effects, blue and red. Not green.
Yeah, green is getting to do everything I want green to do and more.
And then it's still getting big beater. It's getting a big beater out of this. Why?
Because Tireless Striker gets very big very quickly, as you can ask a couple of people in our LGS.
Jack and Stone.
I've had Tireless Strikers multiple times reach 13 12s and 14 13s, and they play Emrakul and can do nothing with it.
It's like, well, do I really want to have you swing into that?
It's like, well, I guess I'm losing an Emrakul today. So I just want to...
Yes, unconditional kill spells. That's what they need. Target creature gains indestructible and fights another creature you don't control. That's what I'm waiting for. That way it's still green.
There is a card that says a target creature deals damage equal to its power to another creature. It's not a fight, it's just it deals damage. So, I mean, it's close enough to a kill spell, right? So,
like, all we need to do is say target creature gets flying, and then, like, then we have all of the green hate flyer spells, and then all of a sudden they kill everything.
It basically comes down to Tireless Tracker plus Nissa plus Oath of Gideon equals OP. Going back to our original talk earlier, Nile Walkers. Will is getting really, really excited.
This is why I hate Green White X.
I'm not even trying to build Green White X. I'm just trying to break Tireless Tracker.
I know.
And I'm succeeding.
So stupid.
Can you feel the love? Because I can.
So I guess we should get to the point where we answer the questions where we get asked. Mainly, I think the two by Wes.
Okay.
Let's get the dumb one out of the way first. Okay, when are we going to see riggers? It's getting awfully close to time of release. Why haven't we seen any riggers spoiled yet?
I don't know, Wes. I don't know.
It won't be this set. You know why? Because there's no goblins. However, we have set the stage that dwarves are now back. Like, dwarves do exist somewhere out in the multiverse.
Some people say there are no dwarves. No, I already made that reference.
Yes, you did. But their dwarves are in the multiverse somewhere. So what we need to do is go to a plane where there's dwarves and goblins.
Okay.
And they'll have riggers on both sides.
And then they just kind of attack each other?
Yeah, pretty much you'll have, it needs to be like a dual color, like almost kind of like Ravnica kind of thing. But you essentially have red-backed goblins and red-white dwarves. Bash face.
That's it, though. That's the only thing on the plane.
Yeah,
just
that's
red,
it.
black, and red, white.
Well, there could be elves. Elves just go, they're both fucking retarded.
Alright, so where's blue at in this picture?
Blue.
Because elves are the green, right?
Yeah. Merfolk? I don't know.
Alright, so the merfolk are just like, hey, elves.
We're just fish elves. That's all we are.
Are they? I mean, basically. That's all merfolk are.
I don't know, but like I thought about this the other day randomly. The most terrifying creature I have ever seen in printed Magic history is Razorfin Hunter. Because this is a merfolk goblin. Think about that. What? Yeah, that's an actual card.
How does one become a merfolk and a goblin?
I don't know, but basically it was like a goblin and it held a trident and had a thick tail.
Okay, my real question is his parents, right? Like, how do you fall in love?
I don't think that was a fall in love. I think a goblin ended up in the water and was like, I must rape that. I don't think it was the other way. I don't think a merfolk said, man, I gotta have me some of that. No.
Wow.
What?
That has became very dark.
What? Okay. We play in fantasy worlds. I'm used to D&D. How are half orcs made and half ogres? That's generally that's how they always say it happens. Is well, this young human female just got taken advantage of by an orc tribe, and gave birth to a child.
That's rough. That's morbid.
I mean, it exists in fantasy.
It does.
Let's not just oh no, that doesn't happen.
No.
Nope. It's all puppies and unicorns.
That's the world we live in. Puppies and unicorns. It's true.
Although I do want to see a D&D Magic plane. Because I mean, the stuff's already there. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's
let's have a what's the main drow guy in D&D? Dramizix? I don't know. The guy from the novels, anyway. But like have him as a planeswalker. I think that would be kind of cool.
Him and Niv Mizzix can like just get it on.
No.
Okay. They share the same name.
Pretty close. I don't know. I probably just matched those names together.
Okay.
But like I said, you take some of the more prominent characters from Dungeons & Dragons, like lore, and then they can be your legendary creatures. Maybe one become a planeswalker, or one or two become a planeswalker. But then you have your established tribe. You have orcs, elves, goblins, dragons, dwarves. You have a traditional fantasy setting.
Sure.
Because, I mean, it's been a while since we had traditional fantasy. It's always been, you got some stuff. You got elves, you got humans, you got goblins. A dragon.
There's a roar. Dungeons and Dragons. You walk into a dungeon and you find a dragon.
Isn't that a little on the nose?
Hey, this is my campaign. I can make it however I want.
Or when you play Chutes and Ladders, do you complain about the chutes and the ladders?
Yay references.
But, we're finally seeing dwarves again. We don't have gnomes or halflings.
No.
Why not?
Could. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Gnomes.
Gnome Lord. Gnome Tribal. Let's go.
All gnomes get +1, half one.
Plus O+1. And gain Skulk.
Poor little halflings.
That or
They run
it's
around.
like
They run around
no,
with like forks and like stab you in the foot.
no, but I mean they would be more of your like artificer race than I think the dwarves would be.
I'm happy to see the Velikins back.
Yeah, and they actually have a planeswalker.
Yeah.
So what's this other question? It's actually pertaining to Death Shadow aggro, which
Sure.
we are, I wouldn't say experts, but at least knowledgeable.
Very much so.
Plunge into Darkness. Why don't we run it?
Plunge into Darkness. Exact Oracle text on that card.
Choose one. Either sacrifice X creatures and do something, or pay X life. X. Look at the top X cards of your library. Choose one. Exile the rest. Entwine for a black. I think.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and pull it up, and that way we can speak exactly from it.
I know it's a black and one. It is, and then like I said, it does have the choose one of two modes. It's mainly the second mode where you pay the X life, and it's go through the top X cards, choose one, exile the rest.
So the real reason my main reason we don't play this card. Sacrifice any number of creatures, then you gain 3 life for each sacrificed creature.
That's irrelevant.
Pay X life, then look at the top X cards of your library. Put one of those cards into your hand and exile the rest.
See, that was right.
So, the list itself is a very fragile list, so having to exile cards is not ideal for us. If we exile Mutagenic Growth, if we exile other pump spells, Team or Battle Rage, it's not great. The other downfall to this card, in my opinion, is it's a 2-drop. Now, yes, we already run a couple of 2-drops like Team or Battle Rage and Fling, but those deal actual damage to our opponent.
For me, it's just I can't see where the outcome of that is actually any good. Because normally we're trying to go, let's jam like 2 or 3 spells in a turn and hit lethal.
Sure.
By turn 3, 4. Where we go now to plunge into darkness to get ourselves down low enough to get Death Shadow bigger when we play them on board, whatever. The value is now we have a slightly large Death Shadow, which still dies to Path.
Right.
Or Edict effects, if that's all we have. And then we've traded off all of these other potential, either another Death Shadow. I mean, what do you pick out of that 8 or 9 cards, or however large you decide to go? You know, what do you pick out of that?
And that's a very valid point. And the list itself, like I said, is already pretty fragile. Like, we struggle at times to find stuff to cut for our sideboard, and that is just that's just because the list is a very synergistic list. Everything has to work. Like,
I mean, since we're functioning on a 3-4 clock, like turn 3-4 clock, we're having to make sure we have at least multiples of 3 for most of our cards, just to ensure we see 1.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we figured out through playtesting that sometimes we don't need to see. Like, we could survive without 1 of those cards, but we definitely hate it when we see 2. So let's knock it down to 2 so we don't see more than 1, for sure. Like, that's where we hit with Become Immense. Like, it was just, I don't have enough stuff in my graveyard to ever cast 2 of these in one game. If I have, something has gone wrong.
Exactly. And it comes down to the point of, if I have a Plunge of Darkness and I have a Fling, and I have a Death Shadow on the board, I'm probably going to go with Fling. I have 3 cards in my hand. I have a Mutagenic Growth, Plunge into Darkness, and Fling. I have 2 mana open. I'm going to go with the Fling. The reason for that is if they target my Death Shadow with removal, I still have a way to inflict damage and kill them. Plunge into Darkness is a setup card, primarily, and not as much of a pump card. And we don't want to be setting up. We want to be killing them on turn 3, turn 4.
Now, does it draw that many cards?
If it's a draw, then yes.
Or even draw and discard so many?
I'd be more okay with that, because that would kind of fuel become immense as well.
Yeah.
But the fact that we have to exile the cards, we only get to choose one, and on top of that, it's very clunky in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot bring myself to actually playing that card.
Like, I can't think of even really that many ideal situations where, okay, this is what I want to do with this card. Instead, I'm thinking of going, this is going to be terrible no matter what I do with it.
In my mind, there are more negative effects that come to running that card than there are positive effects. And if there are more negative effects, then I'm less inclined to actually use that card.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the reason that we don't run Plunge into Darkness. Are we completely correct on this reason? There's no, I don't know for certain. Will I experiment with this card? Probably not. There's nothing that just draws me to the card, and there's not much that it really offers in my mind to the deck itself.
Sad face.
Sorry. But very valid question. We can definitely see the reasoning behind the question. It does, on the surface, kind of look like a nice way to drop your life total.
Yep. Oh, so I came up with a new test brew I'm going to come up with for Modern once Kaladesh releases. It involves Lost Legacy.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the card?
Not fully.
It's the one that has the picture of Kieran, and it says, name a non-land, non-artifact card.
Okay.
Go through target player's hand, library, graveyard, and exile all cards of that name.
How much mana is this?
3.
3. So it's a Slaughter Games.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's the opposite of Infinite Obliteration.
Well, you can name more than just artifact, or name more than just a creature. Is what it is. You can name an instant or sorcery if you so choose.
Instant, sorcery, planeswalker,
or enchantment. It just basically says non-artifact, non-land. But then on top of that, that player draws that many cards.
Okay.
So what you do is you go Laboratory Maniac, Lost Legacy, and then like Relentless Rats or Shadowborn Apostle, and just target yourself.
So you have to run more apostles than lands, obviously. But yeah, that could definitely work.
Would that not be janky as all get out?
That would the actual possibility of that deck actually winning, right? So hold up.
Oh, it does. Lame.
Oh.
Rip.
Okay, well, slightly less bad now for actual play. It's a good card. I enjoy Slaughter Game effects.
Although I did enjoy the fact that a lot of people are talking about running Lost Legacy in Standard with Eternal Scourges.
I think Lost Legacy is going to be good. Like, Slaughter Games is a good card.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you have the Scourge and you name yourself, you target yourself, you just exile all your Scourges. You're like, okay, now I can just cast it from exile.
Oh, there you go.
Profit.
Nice. I can get behind that. All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps it up. We talked a lot about Kaladesh.
Well, duh. I mean, Kaladesh comes out in, like, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Pre-release is coming up in about 2 weeks, and then releases after that. So,
and then Atlanta.
And then Atlanta. So we can go over that real quick because we actually didn't get to talk about that.
Oh yeah, I'm going to Atlanta.
Mike is going to Atlanta. I probably will not be in Atlanta. I will try, but there's no guarantee that I'll be there.
I need people to go to Atlanta with me.
If you're interested in going to Atlanta and you're in our local area and you would like to carpool with Mike, just let us know and we can get that taken care of for you.
Yeah.
But there's a chance that I'll be there. There's a chance I might. There's a lot going on right now. So much big life. Yeah, it's getting to become a very big headache. So,
you didn't want to go to Atlanta anyway initially because you're like, oh, it's limited.
Yeah, but now it's Kaladesh. I'm excited.
It was Kaladesh the whole time. Now I see how stupid bonkers Kaladesh is, and yes, I want to go.
To be honest, playing Conspiracy kind of got my limited hype train going.
I just like limited anyway because that way you don't play the game of who brought the most value of cards and slaps it on, slaps it on the board.
Yeah.
This is just luck of the draw and then testing your deck ability with what you get.
Sure, sure.
So, I mean, yes, it is a little bit luck, but there is there is a considerable amount of skill involved with play and deck building. You can't just net deck and go, well, I just played this deck and I don't understand how it works.
I can net deck sealed decks. I can go, oh, I have the same pools as this guy. He built this deck.
I at least have all the same cards.
Net decking on point, boys and girls.
But again, my point being is there's another aspect of Magic that you're having to deal with with limited is that you have to know the values of cards and you have to know how to properly construct a deck. You can't just look at a list and know how cards interact.
Sure.
With just what's in the list, you're given a poll and you make the best of it.
Completely understandable.
This is why I like brewing more than I like looking at lists and playing some established lists, but once I understand why it works the way it does, it's like, what can I do with this?
Like Tyler Striker.
Yeah, it's like, okay, now that I see how it's abused in this deck, let me abuse it this way and more in this other deck.
And then more, because Tyler Striker can be abused. Always. Always. But yes, look forward to seeing us in Atlanta, or at least look forward to seeing Mike in Atlanta, and maybe I will be able to come after all. We're still talking about it, and we'll let you guys know. I think that's pretty much going to cover it for this week's stream. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Check back with us at all times. Keep track with us on Twitter. Keep track with us on Facebook. We'll be posting about doing some more Versus series. We had a lot of fun during the conspiracy draft. I don't know if some of you guys saw that, but I know we enjoyed it a lot. Yep. Now that we know that we can do it, we're going to be probably experimenting a lot more with some kind of one-on-one fights and going into depth about how decks work against each other and how certain matchups go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. We will see you all again very soon, and have a fantastic week. Meow.